Massive real estate shift happening right now. So it's been a while since I've been live. A whole lot has been happening in the real estate market, in the mortgage market, in any market in general. And I want to come on and discuss how things went the first quarter of 2025, what you can do to prepare in terms of home ownership in 2025. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have pertaining to how to navigate through these muddy waters we're in, how to navigate through if you've on here and you've purchased a home and you want to know if it's a good time to refinance. Like, I'm here to answer whatever questions you have tonight pertaining to home ownership. So let's dive in right away. So currently, FHA has made some major changes. One of the major changes that FHA has made is they will not lend to non-resident aliens or citizens. What does that mean? If you're here on a green card, you're here on a work visa. At one point, FHA would finance you if you had the proper documentation. They would finance you 3.5% down payment and allow for you to purchase a home using FHA financing. The current administration has made that change to where you have to be a permanent resident or United States citizen in order to purchase a home. So their thinking is, hey, we will provide more funding, more financing for that opens up more funding and more financing for our U.S. citizens so that they can become homeowners. However, FHA doesn't lend funds. They guarantee the loan, meaning XYZ mortgage company will fund the loan and write it to the guidelines of FHA. FHA approves that loan by going, once we have the guidelines for them, and they will then back the loan. What does that mean? If borrower A buys a house and uses FHA financing, and then in turn, let's say 5 years down the road, something happens and they lose the home, FHA will make that lender whole, which means they will pay the lender remaining balance of the home, and they will take back that property. When I say take back the property, FHA homes that are taken back by HUD become HUD homes, so that when it's foreclosed on, becomes a HUD home. That's what FHA does. Well, lending to a non-resident of the United States by who has their paperwork doesn't provide more funding from FHA to someone, because FHA just guarantees the loan. They don't actually fund the loan. So if a U.S. citizen doesn't qualify, they don't qualify. If a non-resident qualifies and they check all the boxes, they're paying taxes. They're not only paying taxes to the IRS, they're also paying property taxes. They're contributing to the economy by purchasing a home. They need electric. They need homeowners insurance. So they're providing to the economy. So for them, FHA is not a route that they can go. And then they recently updated to USDA. So USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, had the same type of program where they would finance non-permanent residents of the United States for a 0% down payment requirement. They just have to meet the guidelines. Well, USDA no longer does that as well. So those are two segments of the market, or a segment in terms of people of the market who no longer qualify. And when you look at the numbers from last year, 8% of the borrowers were non-residents, DACA workers, green card. So that has an effect on the FHA side and the USDA side. Well, what options do they have? They have the options of utilizing conventional financing, which could be 3 to 5% down, right? So if they have 3 or 5% down, they could potentially purchase a home using utilizing conventional financing. Well, with that, they have to have better assets, meaning they have to have, more money in reserves, or more money in terms of if it's a 5% and more money for down payment, They need to have a higher credit score, and their file has to be a little bit tighter. Then there's also non-QM. There's also non-QM financing, which is anywhere from 20 to maybe 30% down for that borrower. So that was a major change, right? That was a huge change in FHA financing. So the other thing that we've seen is they're talking about high delinquency in FHA mortgages. So people who have FHA mortgages have been having a problem paying their mortgage. Now, I'm sure someone who has conventional financing or VA financing or USDA financing has been having problems with financing their home or paying their mortgage. However, the highlight for them is on FHA. So, we're seeing that. Now, we're also seeing interest rates come down. So, this part I really want to dig into. So, right now, we're seeing interest rates. Like last week, we saw interest rates steadily going down every day, small trickles, right? Well, on Friday, for some reason, the market went crazy and we started seeing interest rates creep back up. At one point, those rates were the lowest they had been all year. And now they're back to where they were earlier in the year. So if you're looking to purchase and get a lower interest rate, you may want to do your application as soon as possible with someone or get yourself in position. The way the market's going right now, it looks as if we're going to see it's going to be time periods where the market spikes and then it goes down. And typically when the market goes down, it stays low shorter. It goes low slower than it goes up. So meaning rates come down slower, but they go back up faster. So if you're in the market to purchase a home, you're looking at homes and you're trying to time the market, right now is a very tough time to do that. And I would try to potentially get the best deal that I can get now in hopes that if rates drop, you have the ability to refinance later on down the road. If you're watching this and you currently own a home and you're looking to potentially refi, what I'm doing is I'm getting the applications of past clients or people who reached out and said they want to refinance. There's something called a striking point. Striking point is where the rate hits exactly where it needs to be, so it makes sense for you to refinance, and we're going to lock at that moment. We're going to lock at that moment because, again, I said the market is going up and down, it's spiking, it's going up fast, coming down slow, and it has to be timed properly. Now, am I saying that rates are going to go from 6.25% to 4.25%? No. But if it goes from 6.25% and it goes down to 5.75 or 5.5, and it makes sense for you to refinance, that's going to be a striking point, and we're going to refinance on the loans. What's going on, Dr. Clark? Good to see you, man. So like the market is very volatile. So if you're paying attention to the stock market, the mortgage market is affected by that just as much. Sorry about that. The mortgage market is affected. Stock prices, from my understanding, spiked because President Trump said that he was going to hold off on tariffs, even though that was reportedly as fake news. And it wasn't exactly him, but it affected the market. Now they said the market did not move because they're waiting for the next thing that he has to say. So, right now it's still a good time to buy if you're in position to purchase. And if you're not in position to purchase, you need to get in position, start speaking to a lender, finding out what you need to do. Housing prices are in certain parts of the country are starting to see a decrease in value. Still they're still, higher on the higher side, right? But markets just starting to see decreases in housing prices. Sellers are still, from what I'm seeing, willing to still willing to pay some closing costs, but it has to be for the right situation, right? So you want to make sure that when you're putting in an offer on a property, that you put it, if you're going, example, if you're going to ask a seller to come down in price as well as ask for closing costs, then they're taking less money. So example, if the seller is selling their house for 250 and you offer 230, well, that's already $20,000 off of what they're asking for. Then if you're asking for $5,000 in seller's assistance, then you're also asking for an additional $5,000. So to the seller, that's $25,000 off versus having, 5,000 or 20,000. So you have to look at it from the seller standpoint. Even though you're financing that loan, the proceeds, the 20,000 comes off of what they were looking for. The 5,000 in closing costs actually comes out of their pocket as well. So you might want to make sure you're making a strong offer. But there are a lot of sellers who are in positions where they can potentially qualify. They can potentially allow for you to get some closing costs. However, then there are certain scenarios where, depending on your pricing point, they may need that money to sell from the sale of that house to purchase their new one. So those are things that are, in line with what we're seeing in the market. A lot of changes. People talking about recession. As we see, they're saying, hey, things are getting higher. Eggs are still higher. Gas is fluctuating, going up and down. Housing prices are going up and down. And the other big part is tariffs. So tariffs is pretty much a tax, right? Tariffs are considered a tax. And if there's a tariff put on China and Canada and Mexico or wherever the other countries are they're putting tariffs on, those tariffs are being paid by us because we're buying it. Like, you can put X amount, 15% tariff on China. They're just going to tack that on to whatever product we get from China, and we're going to buy it here. I think the reasoning behind it is to get more jobs in the United States, or more things produced in the United States, because the tariff makes it higher over there. And if it's higher over there, then at some point it makes it, cost effective to build it here. That's what the hopes and the plans are. I believe that they're probably going to look to scale back on the quality of whatever we're buying from that country, and by making the parts cheaper, taking something off, making it less functional to keep it in a price point where it's still economical to buy for us, or we're just going to see an increase. So, there's supposed to be an increase in sneakers, cell phones, materials. There's certain materials that we get that we don't produce in the United States, and they come from China. So we're going to see a change in a lot of what we spend, our money on, and we have to get smart about what we spend it on. And whether the tariffs stay or go is to remain to be seen, but we just have to prepare for those things. So I know we talked about a lot of different things. Those were a lot of the updates, for Q1 of 2025. Housing prices are still up. Some are coming down in different parts of the country. I read a statistic where the largest home builder in the United States, which is Lennar, said that 12.5% of their profits went into incentives for buyers. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, in hopes of keeping the economy flowing, keeping people buying houses, keeping interest rates in housing where it's affordable. And that's from the largest new home builder. They also reported that Q1 did not turn out as they expected, even with the ton of incentives that they're offering and other builders are offering. Um, so, if you're out there and you're listening, and I see the questions in the chat, I'm definitely going to get to them. If you have questions pertaining to home ownership, being a first time home buyer, if you're looking to refinance, to buy an investment property, definitely drop your question below. I'm here to answer it tonight. Before I get into questions, I just want to say, hey, if you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor and give us a thumbs up. Currently, we have 10 people watching. It's been going back between 10 and 12 people. Do me a huge favor. This favor is free. Give me a thumbs up. If you're watching the video, before you leave the video, just give me a thumbs up so this can be pushed out to the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new to the channel, we have a Facebook group on Facebook that we're looking to grow, get interactive with. We're providing what I consider value 5 days out of 7, sometimes 7 out of 7, as well as a newsletter where you're informed on happenings in the market, happenings when I'm doing lives, when I'm doing videos. If you missed the actual video, you can catch the replay. We're offering insightful information. Those links will be down in the description so you can participate in our Facebook group. And hey, if you're a part of our Facebook group and you believe that, hey, they provide some great value, I may not say anything, but Kevin, I see your post and you provide great value and you think it would be great value for someone else, do me a huge favor and invite someone to our Facebook group. The link will be below. Thank you, and we appreciate it. Let's see what Mr. Clark got going on. What's happening with reverse mortgages for FHA borrowers that are non-permanent residents? That's a great question, Devon. I have no clue, brother. Like, I don't do any reverse mortgages. I know about them, but there's nothing. I don't do them in my wheelhouse, and that's a great question. Like, that is a great question. What I can do is I can find out. And when you get a chance, ask that question in the comment section when this video is over, and I will get an answer for you. All right. I appreciate it. How you doing, Miss Glenda? It's good that you're working and listening. We appreciate it. See, Devon, if someone puts their loan into forbearance, could that affect their credit score? Not from the loan standpoint. The forbearance just means, hey, this loan is on pause for, let's say, 6 months. This loan is on pause, so they can't report you on time. They also don't report you late. Now, if it comes out of the forbearance and you don't make your payment, that's a different story. Or when you come out of the forbearance period, they've got different options. So one option could be that you bring the loan whole, meaning you bring the loan current with whatever amount of months, or a portion of it can be put on the back end. So it doesn't hurt your credit unless you come back and you're not making payments. But you want to make sure it's an actual forbearance and you have paperwork, because if not, they will report you late. Hopefully that answered your question, Devon. Hoping for a decrease in housing. So a lot of people are. So decrease in housing or decrease in rates that can help you qualify for a little bit more house. One or the other. Some people want both. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask this question to anybody watching, if you can tap in. If you had the choice, and you can only choose one, we know we want both. If you had the choice to either have lower housing prices or lower interest rates, which one would you rather have? You could only choose one. If you're watching the replay or you're watching it live, do me a huge favor and answer that question in the comment section, because I'd like to get feedback on what people deem more important to them. It's your decision. There's no right or wrong answer. I want to know what you actually think is better, whether it's lower housing prices or lower interest rates. Hey, Chanel, I'm glad. How do you feel about the SAVE program possibly being taken away? Um, as long as they have an additional option. So if you don't know what the SAVE program is, it was a program that the Biden administration put in place for people after COVID and not housing, after student loans came out of forbearance for COVID, they had something called a SAVE plan, which was a plan for your student loan debt to have you allow for a lower pricing point, right? A lower monthly payment. So you have your fully amortized payment, which is the payment that allows for you to pay your loan based off of the interest rate and the amount, and it's a set payment for the life of the loan. Then you have income driven repayment plan. The income driven repayment plan is actually the payment plan that allows for you to go pretty much based off of income. It's got different factors on it. So it's the SAVE plan is under income driven repayment plan. You also have the gradual, the pay as you go payment plan, which changes based off your pay. And then you have the income based repayment plan, which is based off of your income, and you have a set payment. And those payment arrangements are usually good for 12 months, right? So if you do any one of those, it may allow for you to have a payment arrangement. Let's say you had 100 grand in student loan debt, and because of your income, your payment arrangement was maybe $100 a month. So that's what those plans were. What they actually did was the SAVE had a deeper discount in savings. So I think that will hurt a lot of people. But for a period of time recently, and I think it still is, you could not set up a income driven repayment plan because they grayed out that box. So that's another thing. If student loans are affected in any way where people actually really have to pay them back and pay back the amounts that they're asking for, it's going to affect a lot more people in the market. So in terms of the SAVE plan, I hope it stays. If it doesn't stay, maybe they can figure out another option for it. But the current administration's goal is not to do anything with student loan debt in terms of saving us. So we have to be in position, have to have our student loan set up in position. And listen, guys, I wrote a book on student loans, shameless plug. And in my book, I navigate how you can set up or prepare yourself with no matter what amount of student loan debt you have, prepare yourself to be in position to purchase. The name of my book is Student Loan Debt No Problem. The link will be below for you to grab it. I would definitely grab a copy. I would get me a highlighter and I would highlight the things in there because I help you set it up from A to Z. So even starting portions of budgeting, your credit, and then how to reach out to the student loan servicers and set up the proper plan so that no matter what happens, unless things majorly change, you have the ability to purchase a home, even though you have student loan debt. There's ways to, okay, I don't have a payment plan. Depending on the type of financing, you default to a certain percentage. And as long as that percentage works, then we don't have to do anything special. If you have a payment plan and it's not reporting on your credit and the 0.5% is less, then we can go at that option. So there are options for student loans, but the link below will be for my book, Student Loan Debt No Problem. It's available on my website for $24.88. You can do me a huge favor if you could support me. If you want to support me in any way, definitely help me by buying my book. Let me see. Thanks for answering the questions, guys. Let me see. Glenda Boone, I'm at work. Put the loans in forbearance. Housing decrease. Chanel. Housing prices. Lower prices. Housing prices. If we could get the 1990s back. Hey, I'll take two of those, man. Give me two of those 1990 prices right now. Lower prices, lower housing prices, lower housing prices. Okay. Looks like lower housing prices for the win. Do you feel that it's better to offer seller's concession or lower a house price with clients that you have been working with, or you're seeing them needing more seller's concessions due to the current market? That is a great question. Cool. Glad you asked. The not student loans. I'm still stuck on student loans. If it comes down to let's say it's $10,000. If the house is 300,000, does it make more sense for you to ask for 290 or ask for $10,000 in closing cost assistance at 300,000 and use that money to either do a permanent buy down or a temporary buy down? I would go with the full price offer or whatever it is, 300,000 and the $10,000 in closing cost assistance, because that can be used to help permanently buy down the rate and get you in a better payment. And it's going to have a greater effect on your payment by having a different rate versus the price of the house. It is going to be a greater effect on your monthly payment by having the lower rate and using some of that closing cost to buy down the rate either temporarily or permanently. Right? Now, I have situations where I have clients, I actually have one right now, where the client was willing to put down a large sum of money. And I said, hey, can I show you something? I showed the client that if they put down the minimal amount that they need to and took a portion of what they wanted to put down and brought down the rate, it would have a greater effect on their payment and they would save money. And that's what they're doing. So a larger down payment typically only helps if it helps. So it helps, right? It's scenarios where it helps, and then it helps where you're buying down the rate. Sometimes you need to do both, right? So depending on the circumstances. But as right now, more people are looking to try to get into a house with the least amount of money as possible. Some want to see a lower monthly payment. So we have that consultation on what's more important to you, the lower payment or less money out of pocket. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to advise my client to take the seller's concession and use that to either buy it down permanently or temporarily, or use it for closing costs, because it's going to have a greater effect on what they bring to the table, or their monthly payment. Hopefully that answers your question, brother. But that was a great question. Great question. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel, I go live. I try to go live once a week. Lately, it's been crazy with baseball and track, juggling the two and having the bandwidth to do them both. However, if you at all ever want to hear a specific topic, drop it in the chat somewhere. Send me an email. All my contact information will be below. Like my email will be there. My cell number will be there. If you're going to send me a message on Instagram, please check your messages, because I do respond. A lot of times I get people who send me a question on Instagram and they don't respond when I answer the question. But for the most part, I respond. If there's any topics you guys want to hear about, I've got a question for you also. While what I'm doing is on a specific topic, right now, we're talking about the market updates for 2025 year to date. I want to do a home buying seminar virtually. I want to do one where I talk about It's kind of like all of my videos, but I'm talking about it all in one sequence where we talk about credit. We talk about, assets, meaning money, how you can be in position to purchase, what programs are, debunking myths about having 20% down or having 700 credit scores. Just spoke to a gentleman today, told me what his credit score was, and he thought he needed to work on it. He doesn't. He thought that you had to have a 700 credit score. And as much as information is out there, people still think that you need to have 700 credit scores, and you don't. My mother is eligible for a VA loan, and I'm pre-approved for FHA. Are we able to purchase a multifamily home like a duplex as a co-borrower? The answer to that question is yes. Yes to the VA, but because you're not a veteran, there will be a down payment requirement, which then makes more sense to buy it together as an FHA loan, because the FHA down payment is going to be less. It's going to be 3.5% versus with VA, if you're a non-veteran, you have to put like 12.5% down. So the answer is yes, but it's going to make more sense to purchase it via FHA versus VA. Rachel said interest rates. Okay. Interest rates for the win right now? Nah, interest rates still losing. Another thing is, guys, so I want you to ask me questions, but I'm asking questions because I want to see your answers as well. How do you guys feel about the housing market? Are you still looking to purchase? Are you nervous because of the way things are going right now? Or, is it a combination of I'm going to do this regardless of what the circumstances is? What I'm finding is a lot of people are nervous about the market. They're nervous about their jobs. They're nervous about the economy. And then the flip side is I have people who say, I can't even afford the rent because they want 3 times the amount of the rent. I need to go somewhere else. They're increasing my rent. Is it better to buy or is it better to rent? And my answer to that question, it depends on what you qualify for, and it depends on what part of the country you're in. If rents are high, and it makes more sense to purchase, then I would do it. Because what happens is with rentals, what I've been seeing in different parts of the country and different markets, you are typically required to have, let's say, a 650 credit score. And then along with that 650 credit score, they want you to have 3 times the amount of the rent. So let's say the rent is, $2,000. 3 times the amount of rent is $6,000 a month. So if you don't make $6,000 a month, you may not qualify for that. Or if you make $6,000 a month, but you don't have a 650 credit score, you may not get approved for that loan. And with mortgages, we don't need, our factor is not 3 times the amount of rent. It's your debt to income ratio. How much does Mr. Clark have coming in on a monthly basis that we can utilize as income? And how much does he have going out on a monthly basis that counts as debt towards him? That's how we factor it, along with having funds to close, or along with having the right, the right offer that gets you into a home. It says, yeah, the rent is getting off the chain. The qualifications they need down there, you might as well. Yep, you're right. You might as well buy, like, especially in our market, in the Georgia market, like specifically what we consider Metro Atlanta, is definitely off the chain here. I I put in 3 offers on 3 houses and keep getting outbid. I'm not a happy camper right now. I'm going to keep looking, but it's extremely disappointing. Got you. So it is. Depending on what a person's price point is, there's sometimes high competition, there's low competition. What I've been seeing is anything in like the 300,000 and maybe and even 350 and below, there's a lot of competition there because you have people who can qualify for more but want a sweet spot of where their payment is, and then there's people that's the most they can qualify for. So I'm not saying they're settling, but they have to buy within their means, right? So in essence, you really have to dig deep. Like, I'm not going to say it's easy. At no point is this ever easy. And I don't think I've ever said that. It's worth it, but I don't believe I've ever said that purchasing a home is easy, because one of the hard parts is having the money, having the credit, having the job history, getting pre-approved, right? That's one part. That's hard within itself because everybody can't get pre-approved. The next step is selecting your realtor and lender as your team, and then you going out and finding the property that you're looking for. Sometimes that's harder for some people than others. If you're picky and you want a specific type of house, then it may take you longer to find what you're looking for. If you're not picky, but you're in a price bracket where you have high competition, then it may take you a while to purchase. Miss Phillips, I'm gonna give you. Well, let's schedule a call for tomorrow. I've got a couple of ideas that I think may help you. May help you, and that's a part of it. Sometimes you go in with a game plan, and as Miss Phillips said, "Hey, I done put in 3 offers on 3 houses, and I'm getting outbid." Okay, if you're willing to go up, that helps. If you're not willing to go up, then you have to accept the consequences. But then getting back together with your team and us game planning. Hey, time out. Like, this is, I'm a sports guy. Time out. All right, this is the game plan moving forward. And that's where the borrower, the realtor, and the lender get all on the same page. And then they figure out a strategy on how to get that borrower into a house faster, or have a different game plan for them going in so they can become successful in buying it. But Miss Phillips, do not be disappointed. It's a part of the process, and it's worth it. You've come this far, and I hate to see you turn around now, but let's get together. If it's not tomorrow, then maybe Thursday, and we'll come up with a game plan. I've got some ideas that we can do to kind of help the process. So we'll definitely talk. I just helped a client lease a property in Gwinnett County. They put down $9,000 to move in. I was like, y'all could have brought a house. You're right. A $9,000 down payment is a $300,000 house putting 3% down on conventional financing. And I know Mr. Clark is an excellent realtor, and I know he could probably negotiate some of your closing costs. And if the person had a good enough score to get into a rental, and he can't tell me what their score is, they probably could have potentially qualified for some sort of down payment assistance program. So those are the things that you have to kind of take a look at. Like 3 times the amount of rent, they put down $9,000. That's a $300,000 house using conventional financing. Shoot, if you're a veteran, that's a $300,000 house, and you're paying your closing costs. USDA, you're paying your closing costs. FHA, that's probably about a $275,000 house, and then you can get some closing cost assistance. So that's, like those are the things you have to weigh. $9,000 is a grip, man. That is a grip. What are you seeing in the condo market, especially with HOAs, master insurance, etc.? Are you finding it a little harder for someone with an FHA or VA to get into some condo buildings? Yes. So a couple of things. That's a great question. With condominiums, if they're not already FHA or VA approved, then with VA, you can't get into it. It has to be approved. With FHA, they have something called a spot approval. So if you're in, Jefferson Estates Condominium Association, and you like Unit 123, and Unit 123 is not approved, first we see if FHA, how many properties in that community are FHA financed, because it can't be over a certain amount, right? If it's not FHA approved, there's less than 10% of the houses or units in there that are FHA financing. That's 2, right? That's the second one. Then what we do is something called spot approval, and we reach out to FHA or HUD. We reach out to FHA, HUD, and see if we can get a spot approval and see if we can get the unit 123 approved, strictly just that unit, right? And that's possible. That's another hurdle that you get over. In the meantime, not only does with FHA financing or conventional or VA, does the borrower have to be approved, the homeowner association has to be approved. Well, what do you mean, Kevin? If the homeowner association does not meet the liquidity test, meaning, see, when you're in a condo, you don't own the land. You own the contents of the unit. You own the unit. That's your unit. 123 is your unit. But your HOA fees go to yard maintenance, building maintenance, any type of maintenance that's associated with that condominium unit. If the HOA is getting HOA dues, we're going to send them a form and do a liquidity test to see, hey, if something were to happen and the roof on all of these or this unit need to be replaced, do you have the money available to make those changes? Do you have the money available to update the building? Do you have the money available to blacktop the roads or help with the sidewalks or landscape? Like, all of those things are part of the liquidity test that we take you through, not you, but the HOA through. If the HOA does not have enough money to take care of those things or does not meet that process, one or two things typically can happen. You can either put down a larger down payment, which then requires less for them to have to be able to do, or you have to find another property. But so to answer your question, man, we're doing FHA spot approvals. Sometimes the FHA spot approval, the FHAs, I have not had one go through in terms of that unit being approved. However, the spot approval, the homeowners association may not qualify. So like, it's gifting, catch 22. You know what I mean? Like, you got to figure out if it actually makes sense. Because we want to make sure, hey, you don't have, you have the money, you qualify, Mr. Borrower, but the HOA is the one who's doing the repairs, and they don't show them that they have the money. I'm sure my price point needs to go up for sure. Possibly. I've already scheduled a call with you tomorrow. That's what's up. I appreciate it. I'm gonna help you as much as I can. The whole country is becoming to look like California. I hope not. California is in dire straits right now, and they have been for a while. Ruby Stewart. I live in Texas. My lender told me that I have to pay the taxes for the house I'm buying starting from January. I'm purchasing the house this month. They said it is a Texas law. Is that correct? Yes. You're responsible for those taxes. So one of the big things in Texas is different. You talk about paying taxes on a property, and this is not to discourage anyone, but Texas is different when it comes to taxes. They sell you on, we don't have income tax, state income taxes, but property taxes are out the wazoo. Like they're extremely expensive. But Ruby, do me a favor. Email me at kevin.jefferson@summitfunding.net and said double check on Texas taxes, and I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure you have to start from January. Yep, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Texas is a little different when it comes to financing, refinancing, FHA. It's a little different. So, guys, I want to kind of reset the room. If you're watching this live, I appreciate it. We've got 17 people currently watching now. My guy, my admin should be able to go and take a look at the page and see 17 thumbs up minimum. If you have not given me a thumbs up and you're enjoying the information, that you're receiving, give me a thumbs up. And I appreciate it because it's free. It's free. Acacia, don't forget to notify me when rates drop for refinancing. I'm at 6.25% now. Okay. Miss Ruby says she will email me. If you're new to the channel and you have not subscribed, or you think you subscribed and you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Go to the subscribe button and hit it, and you'll be notified when I go live, when I put a new video out, or if I put something in a post. Again, don't forget, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, we do give some amazing information in that group. We're here to uplift each other. And is Facebook a better question for you watching? Is Facebook somewhere that you go? Like, is me posting in my Facebook group and you being a part of the group helpful to you? I know Chanel definitely takes advantage of the information, as well as, helping contribute with her wins. So that's definitely appreciated. Acacia, she reaches out. So, let me know if the Facebook group is helpful to you guys as well as the newsletter. I want to be able to be a resource. I want to give information to you so you can, get what you need. I want to be able to provide information that you actually want, also provide information that I think you need. I think tonight was a great time for me to go live simply because of all the changes in the market, the things that we're seeing coming up. And it's been a while since I went live, and I think you guys need to get, some more information pertaining to this particular market. So do me a favor. If you're watching the replay, drop in the comment section a topic that you'd like to hear about. And also, if you didn't hear me earlier, I'm asking, what's more important to you? Lower housing prices or lower interest rate? I like to get feedback on that as well. And then if you have a topic that you want me to discuss or go over, I'll definitely go over it. So, guys, we've got 10 minutes left before I have to jump. If you're out there in YouTube land and you have questions that you would like for me to answer, do me a huge favor and just drop them in, and I will answer them until we have to go. In the meantime, I do want to encourage everyone that if it's still your goal to purchase a home, still stay the course. Like, we're going to see things change. We're going to see things adjust. But one thing that is true out of all of this, as long as you're living, you need somewhere to live. So whether that's renting or purchasing, you're going to need somewhere to live. Also, I forgot all about my journal, guys. I have a 90-page physical journal that you guys, are you in the process of purchasing a home? or wanting to purchase a home and it's a lot of information and you need somewhere to keep your notes, well, I've put together a home buyer's journal to help you journal your journey to home ownership. By using this journal right here, it allows for you to take notes on your budget, what needs to be paid, things that you need to take care of in your credit. It also has budget worksheets, notes inside, as well as it allows for you to take notes on when you're selecting your real estate agent, your lender, and the different homes you're going to view. And at the end of the process, it allows for you to have a safe place to put the number to your HOA, when the roof was replaced, who the utility companies are, and their phone numbers. For $19.99, this could be yours. The link will be below so you can purchase it. Act fast. They won't last long. So we're back. We ran our little commercial for our journal. Contact information will be below for our journal. Contact information to purchase the book will be below as well. They're both of great value, and I think they'll be very helpful to each one of you. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Drop them below. I've got time for a few more questions. I was just qualified through the NACA program. Should I get a pre-qualification from another lender? Depends. From what I understand, and I've never done a NACA loan because we don't do them. NACA does them themselves. NACA loans can be great loans. The process is what typically is off-putting to people. So whether it wouldn't hurt to get pre-approved from another lender, because then if NACA does not go the way that you need it to, then hey, I have another option of getting qualified through a lender for this amount of money. Just know that there's going to be a difference in your payment. NACA typically has a lower rate. They typically have a lower rate. However, it's a tedious process in some fashion, depending on who your counselor is. And it may be frustrating getting through the process. So it wouldn't hurt to have another lender take a look and see if you can have something comparable. Great question. Shout out to all my new people that I'm not familiar with that joined the live. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Ruby. Acacia, I've known you for 3 years. Miss Phillips, I've known you for a couple of years. Mr. Clark, if you're still out there, I appreciate you dropping in. Miss Glenda B, I know you. I appreciate you for dropping in. My girl Chanel, thanks for dropping in. Erica, I appreciate you for dropping in. Marcus Doswell, appreciate you dropping in, man. It's great. I love going live. I love having these conversations. I love being able to help people, get through the housing process. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Mr. Clark, how come your dad not on my live? I need you to have your dad on my next live, man, so he can ask me some questions and help me out in the chat. Hey, by the way, Devon Clark is an amazing agent. He's there in the Georgia area. Check out his YouTube channel. He gives some valuable information. We typically go live around the same time, but lately I haven't been going live on Sunday. He goes live on Sundays around 6:30. So if you get a chance to check his YouTube channel out, go ahead. Devon, if you can, man, drop your YouTube link in below so you can get some more people and you can talk to them. Thank you, Chester. I appreciate you for joining. I appreciate you for joining, Chester. Again, guys, it has been great. If you don't have any more questions, I can definitely, end it a little early. But again, make sure if you're new to the channel, a couple things. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you've been watching, please, I'm begging you, go and hit the thumbs up so this can get pushed out to the YouTube algorithm. And then if you know anyone that you think this information will be valuable to, share the link with them to this channel or to this video and be helpful. But just prepare, guys. So we talked about preparing for the market, getting ready for refinances, coming up with strategies with having, a good team as a lender or or real estate agent. And so something else, guys, I did a live. That was my last live, maybe about a month ago with my underwriter. I think that is I think that's probably the best video live we ever did. Like, aside from maybe the live on New Year's Day, that you're actually hearing what an underwriter is looking for in a file. Megan is a underwriter. She would probably see your file, and if she doesn't, one of her team will. And if we have questions, I can reach out to Megan and say, hey, Megan, do me a favor. How can we make this work? So the information that she gave in that video was invaluable. That, I'm gonna be honest with you, maybe I'm being biased. That video probably should have went viral because I don't know many people that speak to their actual underwriter, not someone who used to underwrite, someone who does underwrite. Matter of fact, the link to that live will be in the description. So if you can't get to it, look in the link in the description below when this video is over. If you're watching the replay, and look for that live, I'll guarantee you it will be the best hour, 15 minutes you could spend. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yep, that was a good show, man. So, hey, guys, I'm Kevin Jefferson, the People's Lender. Have a great night. Are you in the process of purchasing a home or wanting to purchase a home, and it's a lot of information and you need somewhere to keep your notes? Well, I've put together a home buyer's journal to help you journal your journey to home ownership. By using this journal right here, it allows for you to take notes on your budget, what needs to be paid, things that you need to take care of in your credit. It also has budget worksheets, notes inside, as well as it allows for you to take notes on when you're selecting your real estate agent, your lender, and the different homes you're going to view. And at the end of the process, it allows for you to have a safe place to put the number to your HOA, when the roof was replaced, who the utility companies are, and their phone numbers. For $19.99, this could be yours. The link will be below so you can purchase it. Act fast. They won't last long.